All right, moving on to Aliens. Pluralization instead of a number two. I dig it. It makes sense. The first one's one alien. This one's multiple aliens. So, yeah, it's cool. Alien 3 being the next title, though, is almost a fuck you to this. I don't know. Aliens. But what was it going to be? Aliens. So, alright. So, Ripley is out in space for 57 years. I was wrong, 53. Although I told you I didn't know what the hell I was talking about there. This was written and directed by James Cameron, and going back and revisiting this, it 100% feels like it. This is absolutely a James Cameron film. There are so many feels of Cameron, especially Terminator. The vehicles, the aircraft, it is pure, like just ripped right out of Terminator. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if they just took some of the models and just threw them back onto Aliens. I'm sure someone will probably tell me in the comments, like, that is exactly what they did, because it's exactly what it feels like. You've got some fantastic additions to the cast here. So, the first one has some great actors and great characters, and this one is no different. You've got the addition of Michael Biehn, Lance Henriksen, and Bill Paxton alone. Holy shit, those three guys absolutely make this damn movie. But to not forget other people, Paul Reiser's in here as well, who I'm not a huge fan of. I know he had a good career on TV and whatnot. But for me, I recognize him from stuff. Obviously, he's a pretty famous actor. It's just, he's never been an actor that I've all been that into. I've never really cared for him. Anything I can't think of. If somebody can tell me something below, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, right, duh. Okay, yeah, no, I really liked that. But for the most part, he's not bad. It's not bad. It's just kind of like, oh, there's Paul Reiser. Whatever. But he is a big part of this movie. And he's the character you learn to hate. At first you're thinking, okay, maybe he's on the level, but, he's a businessman. And then you got Jeanette Goldstein in here, which Jeanette has been in, I think, every Cameron movie, if not every one of them, damn near every one of them. And she's very multiversatile in his films. I mean, she can play this rough, tough colonial marine in this movie, and then she's like that mom in Titanic that's reading her kids a bedtime stories. They're all gonna die. Oh my god, I'm gonna start crying. That scene is so fucking sad. And then she plays a stepmom, or foster parent in Terminator 2, and she makes an appearance in all his films, and he definitely seems to utilize her a lot, so they must have a great working relationship, and I like her. I love her in this. She's freaking great in this. She really plays that tough chick. And speaking of tough chicks, I mean, come on, guys. Aliens, to me, Aliens and Terminator 2 are perfect examples of why modern day critics, audiences, are annoying as fuck to me. Like, to call Rey a Mary Sue from Star Wars Episode 7 and 8, and then to not call Ripley one here is ridiculous. I don't think either are. But if you're going to make a case for one, don't act like it's just now. Don't act like this is like a liberal political agenda. Ripley has absolutely zero training. Frickin' Hicks shows her how to use a gun for 2 seconds, and she turns into full-on fucking commando here at the end. I don't mind it. I don't care. But because she's a woman, all of a sudden, that's, an agenda being pushed down your throat and a Mary Sue and all this bullshit. It's just silly to me. There's been tough women in movies for a long, long time. It's not recent. Fuck off. There you go. All right, I had to talk about it because this is one of the films I always use as a comparison for when people are like, oh, well, I even see someone say Captain Marvel was like that recently, and I'm like, what are you talking about? She was fucking a soldier both on Earth and on Kree, and she has godlike superpowers. You wouldn't even have to do any training when you have powers like that. Dumb. Just dumb. Your arrogance is showing through. Please stop. All right, anyway. I'm done. I had to bring it up because this is the name. This is one of the names I always bring up. Sarah Connor and Ripley for references on how Hollywood's been doing the tough girl thing for a long time, and it was never a problem, and it shouldn't be, because Ripley is bad fucking ass, dick or no dick, doesn't matter. She's a kick-ass character, and Sigourney Weaver yet again is fabulous in this movie. I prefer this one to the original. You can call me, somebody who just wants more going on and more action, and I can't handle a slower pace. That's not true, but if that's what you gotta say, you gotta say. I know there's people. Daniel White, of course, is the big Alien fanatic, and I think he likes this one, probably just a little less. Like he likes the other one. I'm speaking for him here. I don't know his personal opinion on it, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. He even said that he's seen this one more than he's seen Alien. And I think that makes sense because this one's more watchable. Like the first one is fantastic. I'm not gonna get it. Even though I nitpicked some things, it is fantastic. It's a masterpiece. It's, it's a fucking almost perfect film for me. But it's, a much slower pace. So throwing it on for fun in the background all the time is not something you're really apt to do. This one is, a mile a minute. So it's much easier to watch. So it makes sense that you would watch this one more. This is just Cameron's style right here. Cameron is a much faster paced director. He wants shit going down and going down quick. In a good way, though. I mean, they're both excellently crafted films. 100% by two insanely talented directors. And I feel like, with Aliens and Terminator 2, that James Cameron is just the king of sequels. That's why everyone... I really like Avatar. I know a lot of people hate on it because it's a popular movie to hate on. But I really enjoyed it. I just rewatched it again pretty recently with my kids and was like, I love it. I don't see the point. I don't see the problem. But, movies become too big for their britches and people want to cut them down. And if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. That's totally fine. It's just, I feel a lot of the times when something becomes too popular, then it becomes cool to hate, and then the sheepish behavior kind of comes in, and people are like, nah, fuck Avatar. But as James Cameron has shown me with this and Terminator 2, he's just amazing at sequels. So Avatar 2, which Avatar 2 and 3 have been shot, I am looking forward to those heavily because he always pushes the envelope. That James Cameron ain't going to come in and direct a movie unless he has something to present, unless he's not going to just do it for the money. The guy is a fucking trillionaire at this point. Okay, that's not true, but he has a lot of money. You don't ever have to do another movie again. His passion is the sea and exploring, all that stuff. He doesn't have to do these movies. He does them because he feels like he can bring something fresh and original and epic and change filmmaking. And every time he does, he does that very thing. And I'll tell you, man, the special effects in this movie are amazing. Like, I've talked about this in the past with films on here where I'm like, this does not get enough credit for its effects work. Like, people always talk American Werewolf in London, and they'll talk The Thing. Of course, I think The Thing is like the pinnacle. But I watch this, and I'm thinking, wow, this is almost as good. I'm actually going to have to take a break. I never do this, but my brother's online, so we're going to cut it, and I'll be back in a couple hours. See you in a second. All right, and I'm back just like magic. Fast forward 2 hours. Okay, so if I repeat myself, you know why. I don't think I'm going to, though. So, all right. Fake out nightmare. Ripley has a fake out nightmare. You guys know how much I don't like these, but it makes sense for the film. I don't mind it here, and she continues to keep having these dreams. Now, of course, they're trying to pin the blame on her because they have to make sense of it financially, because it's always about finances. Oh, I hate politics like that in movies, anything. I like them. I should say I like them in the movies. It's fine that they're in the movies, but I hate those characters so much. It makes me so angry. People that are all about business and everything's about money, and I can't stand people like that in real life, and I can't stand people like that in fictional world. Nothing. Can't handle it. So as I've said on the channel many times before, if you ever use the term "it's just business" to try to justify something shitty you've done to another person, you're a piece of shit. Period. Okay? I am not fucking gonna change my stance on that. It's just business. No, it is not. Be a human being. You have to fucking sleep at night, don't you? If you're sleeping soundly after that and you can really just, I know, you gotta say, it's just business. No. Because it's exactly what Burke is like here. That character is the embodiment of it's just business. Nothing personal, man. It's just business. Feels real fucking personal. Feels really personal. So, it drives me nuts. I can't stand that stuff. That's why I would never be a good businessman. Because I could never do that. I could never, be the guy to be like, well, if we cut corners here and here, a bunch of people will lose their jobs and they'll be out of their work and they'll fucking families and whatever. It's just business. Nope, not me. Not this guy. All right. So then they talk her back into going. Of course, we got this scenario that we've seen plenty of times before and after this. First thing that comes to mind is something, like the Jurassic Park movies, Jurassic Park 2 and 3, Ian Malcolm and freaking, what's his name? Oh shit, now I'm blanking on Sam Neill's character's name. Now I'm like John Hammond, all these other characters. It'll probably come to me in a minute. But yeah, they're always trying to get him to go back, and they're like, no, there's no way, not going to happen. Happened in the recent Victor Crowley. Like, there's nothing you can get me to do to go back there. Of course. And then, they offer her a job as like a space officer again, and she's all up on that. And she's, of course, she's some time passes. She's got a job where she's able to get a class 2 certification on load lifters, and she's down there at the docks working some low end job, and she's she would have been much happier staying there, let me tell you what. But I guess she just don't want to do that. Her heart is out in space, I guess, and she I think also I feel she sees it as her duty to go and eradicate these things because she knows them and she feels guilt about it. Like, I gotta go. I gotta do this. I want my old job back. I don't want to fucking do these, this lowly job anymore, whatever. And so she calls him up. It makes sense. I like that his business card, if that's what that is, like a business card, you just stick it in a phone and it immediately calls that person. It's pretty cool. I mean, you wouldn't really need it now or anything, but I like the idea behind it. I like seeing the ideas of future technology in movies that didn't actually come to fruition, but the ideas behind them are cool. And video phones, man, you see these in everything. So they definitely knew that a Skype, a FaceTime, whatever was coming eventually. So like video conference calls and whatnot, they've been in movies for a long time. And freaking little Jonesy here gets a break. She ain't taking him this time. She seems to have aged because this movie's 7 years later, and she looks considerably older. Seeing as how it's only 7 years, she looks not a lot older by any means, but she's noticeably older in this. But when I saw it was only 7 years, I was like, really? She shouldn't look almost any different. But that cat looks good. Ain't the same cat. Or is it? Wouldn't that be crazy? It might be. You never know. All right. So, of course, she tells them, like, we're eradicating these things, right? Sure, of course we are. Lying sons of bitches. You can never, ever trust these guys. And then, yeah, we got another tough chick in this. Oops, shoving their agendas again. Vasquez, yeah. Jeanette Goldstein's character, Lover, and her relationship with Boggs from Shawshank Redemption is sweet and endearing. It's like this tough freaking relationship. They're a couple, right? I mean, they're either like best friends. I don't know. I get a maybe because they're male and female that I'm even saying this, but I get that they're a couple. What do you think? Are they a couple in this? I don't know. So they go in there with the cocky Marines, and getting back to the special effects really quick, just the loader scene where she gets up on there and she proves that she can do it. Amazing effect there. I don't know how they did that. I don't know what that thing was and how it all worked and whatnot, but man, it looked good. It looked so damn good. And so they're having dinner together, and this is when Ripley finds out that Bishop is on board, the Bishop of Battle, and she freaks out, of course, and we get the classic hand over hand knife sequence, which, if you've ever been a drinker, you've done this with at least a butter knife a couple times, where you just, and then you hit your finger and you go, "Ooh, I'm glad I didn't do that with a real knife." And then you can be an idiot like me who's really drunk and takes an actual knife and does stab his finger, because I think I'm freaking awesome. And sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, much like everybody. So we find out that everyone is on that planet and they are trying to terraform the place. And I guess they do, because when they're outside, they can breathe air and there wasn't oxygen before. So I guess they were successful. The gun Vasquez has is fucking nuts, man. That thing is rigged to her. It looks heavy as shit. And of course, they give it to the girl, man. Game over, man. And so they find everyone cocooned, which is gnarly, man. This movie, one thing I really love about this movie is that they really go for the acid blood. I feel like in the first one, it's just a teeny bit of a threat. It's not really a big threat because there's only one alien, right? So there isn't a lot of blood in that thing. And if they shot it and killed it, then that would be that. But this movie has aliens to spare. So the acid blood, which is so unfair, as I've said, comes into place heavily in this movie. And I love it. I love how many times, people shoot something and the acid sprays on their face, it sprays on their legs, it sprays on their arms, it sprays on their chest. They have to take their gear off. The acid blood is a serious problem in this movie. And I like that because, man, yeah, that is one hell of a defense mechanism, as they say. I will say that. So then they find Rebecca, a.k.a. Newt, and she has a My Buddy doll down there. I saw it clear as day sitting down by her feet. Why would she have a My Buddy doll? A doll from the 80s in whatever hell year this is. And it's on some planet off of Earth. What is that thing doing there? Which is funny because I just saw Child's Play. And so then they're told that they're not allowed to fire their weapons because there's, they could set off a chain reaction, a nuclear explosion, blow them all to hell. And Vasquez is too cool to listen to those instructions. I guess she wants to make sure she can die on her own terms and take everyone with her. I don't know. Stupid decision, but they're jarheads, man. They're Marines. They're badasses. They ain't listen to no rules. That's not true. The soldiers, they fucking take, these are not very good soldiers. They ain't listening to nothing. And then they find these guys all cocooned, as I said. This movie is, it's very much action horror. Like when anyone's like, "Oh, this one's like action and the other one's horror," no, there's some horror in this. Absolutely, this is like the prime example of action horror done perfectly. All the guys cocooned in there kind of reminds me of like The Mist when they come in and that thing falls on the ground and all the little bugs split out from it. Oh, that scene's gnarly. But they find that person alive. She puts her head up, boom, 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 and Ripley's having. I like that they show Ripley's reaction to seeing the chest burst again, like PTSD. Here we go again. I knew I shouldn't have fucking come. Like at that point, what is she thinking? Like, I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have come. What the hell was I thinking? I'm such an idiot. Yeah, I would be so pissed off at myself in that moment, but I wouldn't be there. And I like that Ripley tries to make suggestions towards maybe like the first 30, 40 minutes of the movie, and then she's just not taking it anymore. She's like, nope, no one listened to me before. Look where that got us. You're listening to me now. And she really does kind of just take charge, which, you know, is a plot convenience that their new commanding officer that comes on is super inexperienced. He's not, you know, a bad guy. He's just kind of inexperienced and scared, rightfully so. And, you know, he does have a great send-off moment when him and Vasquez kind of hold each other, and she's like, "You were always an asshole," or something. I love that moment. I think it's a good moment for them. But making him kind of inept like that gives room for Ripley to take the reins and command this movie as the, you know, the returning character that everyone wants to see and everyone wants to be in charge. So it's written in a way where this can happen, but it felt right. It felt good. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like, you know, shoehorned or anything. So I dig that. I think, you know, James Cameron wrote this. He directed it. He wrote the shit out of this. He directed the shit out of this. And yeah, I love stuff like that. Subtle little stuff like that. Just to be like, how do I make Ripley in this situation in charge when she shouldn't be? I'll take out the lead freaking colonial marine, and then the guy leading the charge, I'll make an inept. Good stuff. All right. And oh man, how bad does Vasquez feel for spraying her boyfriend or friend? I don't know what to call him with acid there. Oh my goodness, I would be. She's just got to be wrecked in the head thinking about that. Bill Paxton, here's something I want to talk about with him. Yes, I think most of us love him in this movie. He's probably my favorite part of the movie. He's hilarious, he's amazing, whatever. It's Bill Paxton. Fucking True Lies is one of my favorite Bill Paxton performances. Ass like a 10-year-old boy. He's just hilarious in that movie. Bill Paxton is that guy who just should be annoying. His characters should be so fucking annoying, and I have no doubt there are people who felt that very way about him. But it works. For some reason, he's just charismatic enough. He's just douchebaggy enough. As Chet in Weird Science, as freaking the used car salesman in True Lies, as the asshole in Nightcrawler, like whatever. There was something about how he could nail that annoying ass douchebag role, but make it so lovable and likable and just great. So I got to give Bill Paxton a ton of credit there. And all right, so yeah, I mean, he's got so many great lines. I think my most memorable line from this movie is, "Why don't you put her in charge?" Like, that line just killed me when I was young, and every time I've heard it since is just great. And then the game over, man, and he has so many great lines. It's a bug hunt, which was parodied in Mystery Science. Of course, everything is. I'm just going to bring that show up in every episode from now on. And yeah, they want to blow the station, and of course, freaking Burke is like, nope, station costs too much. And Hicks is like, no, I have the authority here. We're blowing it up. And so freaking Burke tries to have Ripley first impregnated by this thing so he can bring her in and kill everyone else, as she states, and then locks them all behind after they're sealed into a room. What a piece of shit. His death should have been way worse. This is one of those Teddy Brown moments where we were talking about Game of Thrones and he was like, oh, Cersei's death just wasn't, cathartic enough for me. I wanted to see her suffer this and that. And while I understood where he was coming from there, I was fine with the death that I got in Game of Thrones. But in this, it was just too simple. It was like, oh, he got taken down by a xenomorph, off-screen, lame. No, I wanted to see this guy strung up. I want a chest burster to freaking come out of his asshole. Okay? I want serious vindication for this piece of shit. All right. And... yeah, I already went through all of that. And now when they're going down the duct, like the air ducts or the shafts or whatever you want to call them, I feel like the body's piling up because Vasquez is just blowing into these aliens, these xenomorphs here. I'm thinking did the xenomorph name come from this film? They have to have been, because I don't remember it ever being said in the first one. So I think the xenomorph name is coined in this film, right? So it was before this. Anyway, the body should have piled up and blocked the way for the aliens to even be able to get through, because these things are monsters, man. They're huge. And so when she's piling up the bodies back there, they should have been crawling over each other, slowing each other down to be able to get to them. And then, yeah, as I said, the Gorman and Vasquez scene I thought was really sweet. And then Ripley has 19 minutes to go back in there and save Newt. And she just can't give up on her. She sees her as a daughter, essentially. I'm guessing that, you got to factor in. She's been out there for 57 years. Everybody she ever knew was dead. Maybe she had a husband at home. Maybe she had a kid. I mean, maybe, who knows? Although 57 years later, why would she leave a kid behind? It's probably not likely, and maybe they get into it in the next movie for all I remember. But she never really addresses that, oh my God, everyone I know is dead or anything. I mean, they definitely don't go full-on interstellar with this movie by any means. But we don't know what happened in between scenes. She clearly was working, as I said, for a while. So I don't know how much time had passed, but I don't know. I feel like she missed out on her life. She never got to be a mother. She never got to be a wife, to our knowledge. And I feel like she sees Newt as a potential, daughter, and she sees Hicks as a potential lover. Because I get very heavy lover vibes between them. There's something going on definitely between them. Because when I've been using definitely way too much. Holy shit, man! I gotta cut back on that word. But I definitely, definitely. What am I, Rain Man? All of a sudden, I feel a connection between them. It's not like we're engaged or anything. And then I already talked about that shit. And then she goes down there, and man, this sequence where she sees that there is a queen alien, and it's laying all these eggs, all these pods, and she comes and they have that moment where she threatens the eggs with the fire. She shows what it can do first, just so you get it. I know you talk this language. You know what fire is, and you know what it'll do. And she goes and she's back up, and the aliens just disappear. So they have some kind of communication there. Where the hell are their eyes? That I don't. Do they have eyes? I can't find their eyes. But yeah, she backs them up, and Ripley burns them anyways. I love that. And then she just takes a grenade launcher and launches it into her belly and blows up all her eggs inside. Brutal scene. And then the thing rips itself away and starts chasing after her, goes up the elevator. She thinks she's screwed. She thinks Bishop has screwed her after he did his Andy Dufresne pipe crawl. See? Boggs, Andy Dufresne reference. It's all linking back to Shawshank. And then he comes back. They jump on the ship, and they fly off, and they think everything's okay, and nope. And then we get the loader versus alien scene, which is probably the most iconic scene from this film, in my opinion. And they go at it. Get away from her, you bitch! And they fucking just are like pounding at each other, going at each other. And Ripley throws it, and freaking they fall down into the airlock together. Ripley opens it up, shoots it out into space, closes the door. Bishop saves Newt as she's sliding by. Did pretty good for a human or whatever, not bad for a human. And she's like having the endearing moment she's having with Bishop, like, I was wrong about you, you know, you did great. And he's like, really? And then boom, it like grabs him, pulls him up, and tears him in half, and just throws his body this way and that way. Amazing scene. Loved that shit so much. So good. And then she goes and she locks Bishop down. She takes Hicks and has him, and he's injured. And then here we go yet again. Everything's okay. She's got her kid. She's got her future husband. She got her new robot best friend. She's gonna get over her distrust towards androids, and they have to fuck it all up with the third movie. They had to kill Michael Biehn. No reason for that. They should have had Michael Biehn in that fucking movie. That's one thing. I'm still going to give Alien 3 a completely fair review. I do enjoy the movie. Not anywhere near as much as 1 and 2. But, man, they kind of fucking blew it there. I know Newt would have been too old, but you could have said something about like how her pod woke up early. Because they could have used the same actress, right? It's like a 6-year difference between these movies. You could have had like something malfunctioned on the ship, and she woke up early. And she didn't know what to do, so she sat out there, and she kind of already was a scavenger and a survivor, so she was out there for like 6 years by herself. So she comes out and she's all fucking crazy again. See, this could have been awesome. Could have been so cool. She's like, doesn't know what to do. I thought maybe I'd kill you if I tried to bring you out. She doesn't know the machines. Simple. Why can't we bring these people in? You could have brought the original actress back. She could have aged properly. All right, I should probably save that for my Alien 3 review, which I'm going to go watch right now. Adios.